RV is unique in the fact that it's not just your vehicle, but it also might be your home. And this dual nature raises all sorts of legal questions, including some big ones when it comes to dealing with police. Well, stay tuned. Today we're talking about a subject hotter than a bonfire in July. Can police really search your RV without having a warrant? Some of you aren't going to like this answer. Welcome back to the Camping Loop. Last week we made a video about 7 things you should never carry across state lines in your RV, and boy did you guys respond. Mostly positive, but with that many views, you're bound to get a few loose cannons. The most popular comment we saw over and over again was none of it really applies because the police need to have a warrant in order to search your RV in the first place. Well, hang on a minute. Today we're going to break down and see if there's any truth to this or not. I also told you last week that I'm not a lawyer. This isn't legal advice, and you probably shouldn't take it as it is. After all, I'm not coming to bail you out. There's plenty of misinformation out there about whether police actually need a warrant to search your RV, and that misinformation might land you in some trouble. Now, of course, the Fourth Amendment is all about protecting us from illegal search and seizures. However, the automobile exemption might come into play here. In 1985, the Supreme Court held that a motorhome or an RV is considered a motor vehicle, and that the automobile exemption does come into play under these 2 justifications. First, that the RV is ready to be mobile by the turn of a key, to get rid of evidence. And second, that the expectation of privacy is dwindled because it's a motor vehicle on the road that's subject to regulations that aren't the same for your residents. Basically, the Supreme Court said if the RV is on the road or capable of being on the road, then yes, the automobile exemption does apply. Yeah, this means that police can search your RV without a warrant under these circumstances. Number 1, you give them your consent. Now, this typically happens something like this. You get pulled over, say you ran a stop sign or whatever the case may be. The officer walks up to you. He's going to ask you a series of questions. Usually sounds something like, you don't have anything in here you're not supposed to, do you? Guns, knives, weapons, drugs, things of that nature. And of course, when you tell him no, he's going to say, well, you don't mind if I take a look then, do you? But hold your ground here. Let me be clear here. It is never in your best interest to give consent. It's that simple. The person asking for it is conducting an investigation against you. And you have absolutely nothing to gain, and really everything to lose, by giving it to them. Let's say you say it's okay, and they come in and find maybe a bag of prescriptions that you put in a Ziploc because you didn't want to carry the whole bag around. Now what? You are under no obligation to assist them in charging you with a crime, so don't do it. And here's the thing, you don't need to be rude about it. Just simply tell them no, you don't consent to it. There's nothing they're going to find, and you need to be on your way. The second reason they can search your RV without a warrant, probable cause. Now let's say you get pulled over for speeding, and as the officer walks up to you, he smells a skunk in a state where it's not allowed. Perfect example. Now, you can deny it if you want and refuse the search, but that's not going to do you any good. The canine they call in is definitely going to find probable cause. Best advice I could give you on this one, know the laws where you're headed. Some other reasons they could search around without bothering to ask anybody first is an incident that led to your arrest. Maybe you got caught driving without a license. Maybe you got caught cracking the bottle open a little too early. Maybe you're using your RV like Walter White. I don't know what you did. Or maybe you got stopped and they see something in plain sight. This could be a problem for some of you that commented last week that you'll carry your firearm wherever you want, however you want, whenever you want, because the Second Amendment guarantees you can. And yeah, we're supporters of the Second Amendment, but unfortunately it's not absolute. There's still government agencies, state and on a federal level, that are controlling it today. They might require a license or a permit or tell you how it's got to be stored or carried away from your ammunition or where you can bring it, like a federal building or a school. Now, what if your RV is considered your home and you live in it? Does that change the analysis? Well, yes and no. If you're living inside your RV and just traveling around between Walmart parking lots and dirty truck stops, then yeah, the court's probably going to look at it as a motor vehicle. But if your RV is parked in a stationary place regularly used for residential areas, then the automobile exception no longer applies. This would mean that, yeah, now the police do need a search warrant to take a look inside your RV, unless you give them consent. And the same would go if the thing was parked at your actual house. Now, we also got to consider towables here for a minute. And yeah, technically a fifth wheel or travel trailer would be considered an RV, but it might be some gray area. Let me explain. We'll use the same example from before. If you're driving down the road, you get pulled over, and the officer now smells a skunk coming out of your truck in a state where it's illegal, then it's fair to say that he might assume there's contraband inside the truck. It also might be plausible to assume that it's in your truck. It must be in your RV, right? Well, plausible is not probable. Therefore, an officer can legally search the truck without a warrant, but not the trailer. The other type of situation that could lead to a search without a warrant is something they call an administrative search, like a roadblock, a sobriety checkpoint, or a border crossing. Now, in the case of a sobriety checkpoint or a roadblock, probable cause by sight would absolutely have to come into play in order to search it. However, if you're crossing the border, it's a different scenario. Agents there can search anything they want, and they can keep you there for as long as it takes to do that search and as long as it takes to get all the questioning they need. If you intend to cross any borders up there in Canada or down below, make sure you watch the video at the end of this one. It's going to tell you what you can't bring. Now, I don't share all these things with you to try to scare you out of having a good time. And are all these things really something you're going to have to worry about? Probably not. After all, we've been RVing for 12 years and thousands of miles, and knock on wood, you know how many times we've been pulled over? 0. And even if I was, I'd be respectful. I'm not going to start fighting with the officer who stopped me. It's not going to get you anywhere. A little bit of respect, I bet, goes a long way. And listen, if you think maybe this helps save you paying a fine or even a night in the slammer, go ahead and hit that button for me down below. And be careful out there. As always, we appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you in the next one.